Hey guys, Bryan here from Liquid Concepts. So today we're going to talk a little bit about touch-ups. We've had a lot of customers email us and contact us about doing touch-ups, of course, with an airbrush or something like that. And so we thought we'd shoot another quick little video and show you guys kind of how we go and actually do our touch-ups. Now, what we've got here is we've got a dipped box that we have, and of course we have some spots on it that need to be touched up. So again, one way that we can touch those up is going to be with the paintbrush, and then of course another way is going to be with an airbrush. Also, if you haven't checked out those videos, I'm going to provide a link in the description below on those videos, so that way you can check those out. I won't go into too much detail on that, but if you are trying to figure out colors and things like that, that's kind of where this video is going to take off, is going to be trying to figure out the right colors, where you need to go, mixing and things like that. So then that way you can get a good all-around color all the way around for something like this. So then that way maybe you can mix up one color that works really well, airbrush a lot of that in, and then of course it makes your life a lot easier because then you're able to use one color for a lot of the touch-up. Now again, you may have to mix up multiple colors, but in this case we're just going to do one color just to kind of give you a quick idea on the route that we would normally go on doing any of the touch-ups. So let's go ahead, let's grab some colors and get started with it. All right, so we've got a couple of different colors here that we're going to be mixing and blending. Now, one thing about the colors is that whenever you're putting them in an airbrush, you can use a lot of different paints. They do make airbrush paints that are specifically for, of course, an airbrush. A lot of the times Hobby Lobby and a lot of the other stores like that will carry those, as well as, of course, any of the airbrush shops. So definitely, if you want to use those, definitely get you a good mix of those from browns, blacks, whites, anything in that area. That's going to be really good, of course, for something like this, which is going to be more of like a camouflage. But again, you can use any of those different colors. In this case, we're actually going to be using some automotive paints that we have, and so we use these a lot for just custom painting whenever we need a black or a white or anything like that. But again, you can use just about any of those paints. So what we've got here is we're going to take and we're going to try to get maybe like a little bit darker brown. So in that case, I don't have a darker brown already mixed up, so I'm going to need to make one. And so there's a couple of things that we're going to do whenever we're making these colors. So number one is we're going to get the colors that we might need. So in this case, we've got a brown that's similar to this right here. We've also got our black right here, and then maybe in case we need it, we've also got a white just in case we need to go a little bit lighter or change the hue of it or something like that. And then of course the other thing's going to be is a paint mixing cup, and definitely you're going to need some Intercoat clear. Now this is where it gets very fun and interesting, because a lot of the times what we found is that if you mix up just the paints themselves, then of course, whenever you go to spray it on, it is way too dark. And so sometimes you can mix into an Intercoat clear and it works a lot better, because now instead of it being super dark the minute you spray it on, which is what paint was originally designed for, is it designed to cover, now it's not gonna be able to do that. So usually what I like to start out with is about a 1-to-1 ratio. So whatever mix that I have with all my colors, that's how much more I'm going to add in with my Intercoat clear. So at that point right there, and now my mixture is probably only about 50% strength as far as getting full coverage, which is exactly what I want, because now I can vary the amount of material coming out of the airbrush, so then that way I can get a really good touch up, and I'm a lot more versatile because I can use it on a lighter color and a darker color and still have a really good touch up while still using just one touch up color, which makes it a lot better and a lot more productive overall. So let's go ahead, let's mix up a couple of these different colors in here, try to get something that we feel like is going to be close, and then of course we'll get it in the airbrush, test it out, and go from there. Okay, so we've got the color where we like it, or where we think that we like it at. So let's kind of give you a quick little rundown of what we've got. Mainly right now, all I've got is just some brown and some black, because I wanted my brown to be a little bit darker, because I know that this is going to make it to where it doesn't cover as well. So I can also go with a lighter brown all the way up to a darker brown the more and more that I add to it. And so now that we've kind of got this color, we can see that that might be fairly close to a good color for a match. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we've got our paint in here. Now I've already added a little bit of reducer to the paint because it makes it sprayable. And so now all we need to do is take our inner coat clear, like I was talking about before, and we need to add pretty much about the same amount that we have right now. So let's just say that we have 2 parts of this all the way up to here, or maybe 2 ounces of paint or 1 ounce of paint. That's how much material that we're gonna have in the inner coat clear as well. So we'll add this in. All right, so now that we've got this all mixed up and we've got the inner coat clear in here, of course, I'm going to give it a little bit of shake right here just to make sure that everything gets all mixed up properly, as well as if you do have a paint mixing stick, it's always good to take and shake that up really good and stir it up, so then that way all of it gets mixed up. Once you got it all mixed up, now all we're gonna do is take it and put it into the airbrush, and then we're gonna test it out and see how close we are with it. All right, so now that we've got this in the airbrush, let's go ahead and test it out and see what we think. Now, the nice thing that I like about this is that if you'll notice on this right here, I've got it a lot darker right in here, but I've also got it a lot lighter right over here. And so that makes it to where whenever we're looking at this, it actually blends in a lot better with this, because I've got it lighter here, but then I've also got a darker image right there. And so that does make it quite a bit nicer, because again, with us adding the inner coat clear to the actual mixture of this, I can control how much of light and dark areas that I have in that. And so now we can come back and maybe hit this one right here. Very good. Now that touch-up is almost completely gone. So now we can even come back in and hit these areas right through here. So of course, I wanted to go darker, so I spent a little bit more time right in this area to make sure that that went away. But in these lighter areas right through here, I may go ahead and actually leave it a little bit lighter. So we can come through here and just dot in these little areas just like this all the way through, and it'll make it a lot better for an overall touch-up. Now, again, we may come back with like maybe a black or some other color to get a little bit better touch-up, but overall, this color is actually working out really well. So let's go ahead and hit this top section right in through here. Nice. So of course now, looking at that, we've got a really good coverage all the way around there. Everything looks good. And again, we've got one little touch up right there that we're gonna try to touch up. So we can take that and just lightly cover that in just like that. And now it starts to go away. So now all I need to do is to take this color, and wherever I feel like the brown needs to be, we can go through here and start touching up all of these areas that we need touch-ups on. And then once we have that, we can clear coat it, send it out the door, and then the customer's going to love it. So let's do one more. We had a lot of darker areas right in here. Let's go ahead and hit this with a lighter area like this. Again, all I'm gonna do is just mainly try to focus less material coming out, so then that way I get a lighter brown. And so all we're gonna do is take that like that, try to match the tone of that brown right in there, and now a lot of that is pretty much gone. So now this looks more like the print that it actually has all around in here. So of course, as you can tell, that needed a lot more touch-ups, and we'll go through and we will touch up all of those little areas. Of course, sometimes it may be easier to actually use a paintbrush to touch up an item instead of an airbrush, but hopefully this video has really helped you guys out on trying to figure out how to use a custom color to mix in and to actually do a lot of the touch-ups. And of course, as you can definitely tell, using one color, especially with that inner coat clear included in the actual paint, it works really well in making sure that you can have a lighter color as well as a darker color and still get a really good touch-up. Of course, if you like the video, definitely give us a big thumbs up on that. We'd love to have that for the video, as well as if you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you subscribe to our weekly tips and tricks on anything hydrographics related. Also, let me know in the comment section below on what your thoughts on that. If you have any other tips or tricks for us, definitely let us know. We'd love to hear about them as well, and maybe even try to feature them in the next video. I'm Bryan from Liquid Concepts, and this is how we customize your world. We'll see you guys next time.